What's up, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. I am your girl Bevlin, and this is Dispersed. If this is your first time seeing my lovely face, don't let it be the last time by hitting the subscribe button. If it's not, welcome back, welcome back. So I've been getting a lot of questions about our move to Papua New Guinea, how we got the job, how we even found Papua New Guinea, where we got recruited, how we then got our visas and our work permits and all of that. I just decided to do a video to address those questions, and I hope it helps somebody. A huge disclaimer before we start this video is that I am not a recruiter. I'm also not an immigration officer. I'm just speaking from experience and also answering the questions that I've been asked. I've also done a bit of research to assist with doing this video, but other than that, I am not a professional when it comes to anything that I'm speaking on. It's just experience and the research that I've done. And also a little bit of background for me. I did not go out to look for a recruiter. A recruiter found us, and they basically handled the whole process of finding the job, securing an interview, as well as facilitating the whole immigration process and ensuring that, we have good contracts and etc. So how do you get a job in Papua New Guinea and how to apply? First things first, you have to go and check if your occupation or your skill set is on the scarce skills list or critical skills list. Each country usually discloses it on their website, on their government websites, to say these are the scarce skills that we have. So for Papua New Guinea, to be specific, they do have a list of scarce skills, and they go from a perspective of jobs open to locals and jobs open to non-citizens. So if you go on their site, I'm just going through the site with you guys. I'll put it here on the screen. If you go on the ICA, the Papua New Guinean government site, I'll put the link in the description box below as well as on the screen. So if you go on the site, they have three categories, right? So they have the green list, which is open for locals and non-citizens. Then they have the red list, which is only restricted to locals, right? This job cannot be given to any non-citizens. And then they have the orange list, which is jobs that can be advertised only in Papua New Guinea. So let's say you're a foreigner or a non-citizen and you're already in Papua New Guinea and you see this advert, you are open to apply for the job. So it's open for anyone who is in the country at the moment. So if you go there, the PNG classification of occupations, which is based on the Employment of Non-Citizens Act of 2007, it splits the different occupations as well as the different industries. So you have agriculture, hospitality, healthcare, finance, or human resources. So you will find your career there and see whether it's actually there and what color it has. So if it has a green list, it's open for you, as well as if it's an orange list, but you have to be in the country. And then the red list is only open to locals. So once you confirm that you actually are eligible to work in the country as a foreigner, or your occupation is on the green list or the orange list, you then go ahead to look for the jobs. I would recommend LinkedIn as well as the actual sites for the company. So for instance, if you're in audit and you're a chartered accountant, it's easier for you to just go on the firm's website, like for instance PwC, Deloitte, EY, KPMG. They will have job listings in, let's say, KPMG, Papua New Guinea. If you go on their page, I'll just insert a screen here so that you guys have a visual representation of what I'm talking about. So if you go on their site, they typically have job listings on their careers website. So if there's an opening, you can apply for it because you have already confirmed that your occupation is open to non-citizens or to foreigners. Then for LinkedIn works like YouTube. You search for things. Like, I mean, if you're seeing this video, you probably know how to use YouTube. So the way you use YouTube is the same way that you're going to use LinkedIn. The content that you see on LinkedIn is based on the searches that you prompt before. So just like how on YouTube, if you search for certain content, you typically start getting recommendations after that about similar content to that. So if you start searching for jobs on LinkedIn, if you start searching for jobs in certain countries on LinkedIn, it will start popping up recommendations on those jobs in those countries, as well as if there are any recruiters looking for jobs. The other thing on LinkedIn is you can open up your profile to open to work, right? And there's two options to this. You can make it public for everyone to see that you're looking for a job, or you can make it private, which is to just recruiters. So only recruiters will see that you're actually looking for a job. And I think it works the same way. I think it has the same advantages, because what you want is for recruiters to actually, or HR to actually see that you're looking for a job, not necessarily everyone. The good thing about everyone is that if someone knows that you're looking for a job and they see something, they'll probably send it to you if they're a friend or a connection. The recruiter one, it goes directly just to recruiters. And at this stage, I would also recommend for you to improve your CV, right? You can use ChatGPT or Google Gemini to do this. So you can, let's say you do see a job posting that you're interested in, or a recruiter sends you a job posting that you're interested in. You take the job description and your CV, your current CV, you ask ChatGPT to, restructure your CV so that it is best suiting the job description. But you also need to remember to use, AI in a very responsible way. Remove any personal information that you might think is not safe to be on the internet. And then you put in your CV and the job description, and it will restructure everything up for you. I know ChatGPT used to return the document as a PDF or Word document, and I think now it has changed a little bit to just returning it as text, unless you have a subscription to ChatGPT. But these are some of the free tools that you can actually use for you to improve your job application process. I know job hunting is very hard. It's very hard, especially now the market is dry. It feels like the market is saturated. It feels like you apply for jobs and you never get jobs. But you need to be a bit more aggressive with the job hunting process. You need to put it all. You need to put your all in, and you're not always going to get a yes the first time, right? Sometimes you might be lucky and apply and get a job just like that. Sometimes a recruiter might reach out to you and say, "Oh, I have a job for you," but it's not always guaranteed it's going to be like that. So you need to be patient, and you need to be aggressive, and you need to realize that it's a process, right? You're now out there and you learn from your mistakes. If you do secure an interview, you learn from your mistakes in that interview to carry you on to the next interview, so that it's a continuous improvement. And another tip is to also reach out to professionals that are in the same occupation as you are, that are already in that country, and ask them how they got to where they are. So you can ask them like, okay, how did you apply? Where did you apply? Who can I reach out to? I know Zimbabweans are not very forthcoming with information. Zimbabweans are very stingy with information. But if you do happen to find someone who is willing to share that information with you, there's no harm in trying, right? They're not obligated to give you the information, but there's also no harm in you trying to ask. If you cannot find a Zimbabwean or someone who's in the same occupation as you are, you can also reach out to other people, right? And ask them like, what is it like to be in that country? What is the immigration process like? So that you be able to make the right decisions or to do your job hunting the correct way. And typically when you're coming from Africa, there's an assumption that, you're desperate, so you will take anything that you're given. So they will also like to downplay your, like recruiters and HR and interviewers sometimes like to downplay your qualifications and your skill set and your abilities. So you need to be confident in your abilities, be confident in what you can do and what you bring to the table, and not just settle for the first thing that you get. That will lead to a series of problems where you realize when you get to a job that, no, I'm actually overqualified. The people that are higher than me don't even know what they're doing, but I got a lower position, lesser pay. So you need to do your research and find out all of these things, whether the company that you're applying to takes those things into consideration, that whether you're coming from Africa or not doesn't mean that I'm desperate, because not all of us in Africa are in a state of poverty where we were desperate enough to take any that's offered to us. Now, when you secure your interview, God willing, you need to make it count, right? Because you have worked so hard to get this, to secure this interview. You're looking for a job. You've worked so hard to get this interview. Now you need to make sure that you sell yourself. I'm not saying lie, but you need to be confident about your abilities and sell yourself. So this is not the time to be playing humility, to be a shy person. You need to be confident and assertive. I'm not saying you should fabricate things that you can do, but do sell yourself and be confident about your abilities and what you can bring to the firm or what you can bring to the company. What I've noticed as well with overseas job applications is that right, there's no room for you to be saying "Andinonyara" or "I'm shy" or anything like that. You need to go out there with a little bit of kazungu, kapapas, a little bit. And then humility, prepare for your interview, right? Because you don't want to waste this opportunity. You need to prepare as much as possible. That is you researching about the country that you're applying to, because they will ask you like, why Papua New Guinea? And you're just there blinking, like you don't even know anything about Papua New Guinea. They will ask you why this company in particular, or what can you bring to that company that will make them want to hire you. So you need to do research and make your skills applicable to the company that you're applying to, make your skills and your experience applicable to the country that you want to get into. At this point, you've done your research, you've done your interviews, you've gotten the job. You now have the offer in your hand. If you can, I strongly suggest, if you can, negotiate. No company, I'll tell you this for free, no company will ever come to you and give you the high end of a salary. They are a company. They're always going to try and get the most out of you with lesser money, right? So companies typically have a maximum and a minimum that they will offer for a certain job post, and they will never come at the maximum end. I can guarantee you that, because they know that you're going to negotiate. They know they're also trying to save some money. So if you do see an opportunity to negotiate. Make sure you understand the contract. You need to read the contract in detail. Don't just rush to sign the contract. Even if you're desperate, you've been searching for a job for 12 months or years, you've been searching for a job, just don't sign the contract. You need to read the contract, understand the terms, understand the benefits, so that if things go wrong, things do go wrong sometimes, if things do go wrong, you have something to fall back on. You have something that protects you, because the company will always protect itself. You need to have something that will protect yourself in any given circumstance. So you need to make sure you understand the terms and whether those terms are fair enough for you. And remember, in the beginning I mentioned that you need to reach out to other people who are in the same occupation, or other people that are in the same field or in the same country. Ask the company to speak to someone who's already working at the company, someone who has migrated, someone with a similar circumstance as you have. If they do have a Zimbabwean or the same descent as you, great, it'll even be better. Ask to speak to that person. Of course, you need to take everything with a hint of the pinch of salt, because they will always sell the company. They will not find someone, if you ask the company to give you someone who you can speak to, they will not find someone who's agreed at work. They will not find someone who's ready to go. They will find someone who's happy at that job. So you need to take whatever they're saying with a pinch of salt, but you need to speak to someone so that you see whether you're actually not getting the short end of the stick, because you'll be surprised that these other people are getting paid more than you have been offered, and you can simply just say, I need more. That's where you start negotiating. And ask for a dummy payslip. By a dummy payslip, I mean they have offered you an amount, right? Now you need to see how much you actually be getting, because taxes in different countries differ, and sometimes there are some hidden benefits that will affect taxes in certain ways. So you can ask them to say, listen, I see what you've given me. Give me a dummy pay stub of what I'll be getting per month, and what the deductions will be, and you get to see whether this job is actually worth it, because some money looks good, right? Because it's the gross amount, and then you haven't considered tax, you haven't considered other deductions, you haven't considered living expenses and all those things. It's also very important to find someone who has similar circumstances as you have. For instance, we have a daughter, right? It's just my husband and I and a daughter. We needed to speak to someone who also has a child, a young baby, so that we understand what are the medical expenses, what are the living expenses for a family of 3, whether my net salary on a monthly basis will actually sustain me, and whether this move is worth it. Because there's no point in you leaving your current job for the same amount and there's no difference. there's absolutely no difference. You've moved across the world for no reason. You're not gaining anything financially, you're not learning anything, no development out of it. So you need to make sure that if you're not getting something out of it financially, you're getting some career development. The key part about, you know, when you get your contract is to do your research. I mean, throughout this whole process, you just need to do a lot of research. If you can, get a friend to look at your contract, right? Because sometimes it's like being in love. You know, when you get a job, it's like being in love. There's certain things that you don't see because you are the one who's in the situation. Get a friend to look at the contract. I know some people are very secretive about how much they're earning, but I've known so many situations where someone is being undercut, right? Because they're being secretive about how much they earn. I know it's supposed to be confidential, but there are certain things that you need to speak about, because some employers are not as forthcoming or as outright as they should be. So you need to make sure that you have done your due diligence before you sign anything. Anyway, that's it for this video. I do hope I've answered some of the questions that you guys have asked, and I do hope this helps someone out there. Anyway, I do hope this video has helped somebody and I've managed to answer some of your questions. I will do a video addressing some of the questions regarding how it's like being an expat separately. I will detail my experience as an expat and how it is as an expat in Papua New Guinea, to be specific. Also sharing some of the things you should consider before you decide to become an expat, as well as working in Papua New Guinea. If you have enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like it. And if you do have any other questions that you want me to address, please do let me know in the comments down below. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe. I'll catch you guys on my next one. Happy job hunting.